Good morning, everyone. How's it going? Oh, see, Jerry's like, hi, Commish. I love that. I love that. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Is this a good volume? All right. If I break out in song, are you going to be upset? I will not. No worries. No worries. Oh, it is wonderful. Mother Nature has agreed with us so far. I was a little upset, but you know what? She's holding her own, and we appreciate it. So, good morning. My name is Michelle Brady, and I am the proud Commissioner of Health and Human Services for the absolutely incredible town of Plymouth, Massachusetts. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the second annual Plymouth Arise Honoree Award Ceremony, commemorating the distribution of opioid settlement funding in our beloved community. This year's theme is courage, commitment, and community. I would like to take a moment to thank and recognize the distinguished federal, state, and local dignitaries and community leaders who took the time to be here with us today. Mr. Mike Jackman, District Director for U.S. Congressman Bill Keating. Thank you, Mike. Ms. Julia Newhall, Director of Opioid Abatement, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, Bureau of Substance Addiction Services. Do you want to just hold your applause to the end, and that way you can clap loudly for everybody? All right. Erica Hensel, Program Manager for Opioid Response, Massachusetts Attorney General's Office. State Representative Plymouth 1st District, Michelle Badger. State Representative Plymouth 12th District, Kathy Lenatra. State Senator Plymouth and Barnstable Counties, Dylan Fernandez. You got a yo out of it. Nice, Dylan. Dylan, what are you doing? That's great. Okay. Senator Fernandez in the house. Jack Richardson, District Director for State Senator Dylan Fernandez. How about a wall for Jack? I mean, Jack is really our guy. All right. Chief Legal Counsel of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion for Plymouth County District Attorney's Office, Min Tran. Plymouth County Sheriff, Mr. Joseph McDonald's in the house. Former state representative and one of my great friends, Matthew Moratori. David Golden, Plymouth Select Board Vice Chair and today's keynote speaker. More on that in a moment. Mr. Richard Quintal Jr., Plymouth Select Board. Mr. Bill Cohane, Plymouth Select Board. Charlie Bletzer, former Plymouth Select Board member. Bill Hallisey, former Plymouth Select Board member. Mr. Derek Brindisi, Plymouth Town Manager. Kathleen McKay, Town of Plymouth General Counsel. Plymouth Police Chief Dana Flynn. Plymouth Fire Chief Neil Foley. Plymouth Board of Health Chair Barry Potvin. And special guests Nick Blake, Kathy Lorge, and Michael Ribello, right up front. Amazing. The Plymouth HHS team, I would be remiss not talking about the team. Assistant Commissioner of HHS Emily Wilson, HHS Consultant Jay Gardner, Library Director Manny Light, Assistant Director of Elder Affairs Caitlin Correa, Director of Public Health Karen Keene, Recreation Director Ann Slusser, and Veterans Director Roxanne Whitbeck, who could not be with us today. A lot of names, but you know what? It takes that entire team to make this happen, so want to acknowledge them. I'd like to also extend a special thank you to Mark Schmidt, Cheryl Soares, and Fred Yule from the exquisite Mayflower Society House, where you are today, for their support, assistance, and I could spend the next 5 minutes trying to explain what they did yesterday and helping us get these tents up. Chef Mike Peters from the Tasty for the delicious array of food. The fabulous Julie Brewster for help in planning logistics for this event. And Jade Anderton from the town of Plymouth for creating what I know will be cherished memories of today's event. So, the Plymouth Department of Health and Human Services was established in the fall of 2023 under the leadership of Plymouth Town Manager Derek Brindisi. Plymouth Addiction Response and Improvement Strategies Effort, fancy, huh? Known as Plymouth Arise, was created in late 2023 under the HHS Department to adopt strategies for expanding opioid prevention, treatment, recovery, and harm reduction services in Plymouth. One of its first missions was to create an effective strategy to distribute opioid settlement funding to those who would create innovative, exceptional, impactful, and evidence-based programs for the Plymouth community, programs that would truly make a difference in our town. Ladies and gentlemen, our first-year grantees have far surpassed these lofty expectations. In fact, these programs are so exceptional that Senator Elizabeth Warren made a trip to Plymouth to meet with the Arise grantees for a roundtable discussion and learn more about these initiatives. You will hear more about their success stories shortly. On February 1st, 2024, Arise issued its first request for proposals, calling for Plymouth-serving nonprofits and government entities to submit groundbreaking, opioid service-enhancing projects for individuals, children, and families. We repeated this process in February 2025 and will continue to do so each year. Our RFP mini-grant program is organized, transparent in nature, community and stakeholder-driven, effective, and well-respected. In fact, the state of Massachusetts has recognized it as a reputable model for municipal duplication statewide. To date, the Plymouth Arise Mini Grant Program has distributed $332,751.98. That better get applause. Yeah. Just in a little over 1 year, Plymouth is making moves, and we intend to continue doing so. We will continue our path as a leader of innovative funding distribution to critical community partners who will rise to the challenge, as they have, of implementing bold, innovative, and impactful programs to address the opioid epidemic in America's hometown. Today's theme: courage, commitment, and community. 3 powerful words that define the crux of the opioid epidemic battle. You will hear from individuals today who chose courage and seeking a different path. Those who found their way despite overcoming addiction challenges, and you will learn about the committed community superheroes whose unprecedented programs answered those calls for help. We see you, we hear you, and we honor you. You are here today and understand the tragic, unfortunate, and non-discriminatory impact addiction has on individuals, families, children, and whole communities. You will leave today and understand how the combination of strength, empowerment, support, and unmuting once silent voices creates a landscape of change towards hope and optimism for our community in the fight against the opioid epidemic. Let's rock and roll. Yeah. Thank you. I'd like to start the program we are so honored to have Senator Dylan Fernandez, who we got some claps, so this is good. Senator Fernandez has asked if he can say a few words, and we are honored to have him do so before I introduce the keynote speaker. Senator.
All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. Michelle Brady, everyone. I mean, come on. And thank you so much for taking me out of turn. It is Portuguese Heritage Day at the State House, and we're actually honoring the Holy Ghost Society here in Plymouth. And when your last name's Fernandez, you kind of have to go to the Portuguese Day. So I appreciate you taking me out of turn. But I just want to say that this is such an important issue for the town of Plymouth, for the state of Massachusetts, and thank you to everyone here for what you do to help save lives. You know, I came of age during kind of the height of the opioid epidemic, and I saw how kids on sports teams that I was on, this really impacted, and unfortunately have lost friends to this disease and this crisis, to the point where the first campaign I ever ran, my friend from playing lacrosse on my campaign literature, he was on there featured, and unfortunately a couple of years later he lost his life to an opioid overdose, leaving behind a family and a young daughter. And so we know that these are people who are our friends, our neighbors, our family members. This isn't kind of some far off thing. This impacts every single one of us. And so it is so important that we are doing the work to keep people alive so that they can get the treatment that they need to get into long-term recovery. And that's what the town of Plymouth is all about, and Michelle Brady, and that's what each of the awardees today is all about as well. So thank you for doing that. And at the state level, with Michelle and Kathy, we're really putting money towards this. We spend $1 billion a year in the state budget for substance misuse related issues and treatment and care. We're going to continue to support that. We've seen a reduction in deaths. Finally, a lot of that comes from harm reduction efforts, of course, around Narcan, making that readily available and in the hands of people, support for recovery coaching, and the like. And so we're going to continue to lead on this in the state legislature and in Massachusetts. So I just want to call out a couple of things because we just had a state budget. One was around $25,000 right here for Michelle Brady for Health and Human Services that we secured to help the town of Plymouth support addiction recovery and support Health and Human Services here. And then we got another amendment, $300,000 for the Massachusetts Organization of Addiction Recovery for transportation services, because I know there's a big issue, there's kind of a gap, right, between a barrier to access to care for people who need treatment and being able to get to the facilities to get that care they need. So that pilot program we jump-started with my amendment through the legislature. And the last thing I'll mention, because mental health is such a big component of this, and there's a lot of co-occurring disorders, we were able to get $4.8 million through the Senate to save the only state-run mental health facility in our district in Pecasset, to make sure that those people still have the beds they need to get the care they need to enter into long-term treatment and recovery. So thank you guys for supporting. Thank you for all you do to help people live a fuller, more vibrant life. And thank you for helping end the stigma of addiction, because that's what we need to do to get people the treatment they need. So thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Senator. Thank you so much, and good luck today. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, we're all going to do a round of applause for probably, well, I don't want to say favorite, that's not right. But I do want to acknowledge in the House is State Senator Therese Murray. Where is she? Is she still here? Okay. Thank you so much, Senator. I want to acknowledge you and thank you for all your work in our community over the years, but you are absolutely amazing, and you're the pioneer. I wanted to single you out as the pioneer for many of these efforts. Absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time. Okay. Next, it is my distinct honor to introduce this year's Arise keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Plymouth Select Board Vice Chair, Mr. David Golden. As a youth, you can clap for him. It's all right. Yep, because really, you're going to love what he has to say. As a youth, David was affected by substance abuse. Both of his parents suffered from addiction, and he was largely responsible for providing care to his 3 siblings. In high school, David emancipated himself from his parents. He is a first-generation college graduate, holding a bachelor's degree in political science from Merrimack College, a Master of Public Administration from Bridgewater State University, and a doctorate in education from Northeastern University. Professionally, David works for a municipal contract organization focused on the valuation of property for tax purposes. He also holds a real estate broker's license in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. He and his family happily live in Manamet, just steps from the beach. David loves serving Plymouth, and he is proud of the work that you all do to support those in our community who are in need. Ladies and gentlemen, someone I consider my friend, Plymouth Select Board Vice Chair, David Golden.
Michelle, thank you for that wonderful introduction, and good morning, everyone. It's truly an honor to stand here under this tent with you all. This tent is filled with folks who embody the theme of today's event, celebrating courage, commitment, and community. Every one of you here leads with heart. Your work touches on one of the most challenging and yet profoundly meaningful fields in public service, supporting individuals and families that are facing the realities of substance abuse and recovery. And while today is a celebration, I want to begin by acknowledging the sheer depth of what that work demands. It's emotional, it's physical, and it's spiritual. We'll start today with courage. Courage is not just a word that we use to describe the way that the people we serve. It's something that you carry every day. It takes courage to keep showing up, to walk beside someone who has relapsed for the 5th time, to advocate in front of lawmakers who understand the urgency of the needs that you're facing, to keep believing in recovery even when others have lost hope. Courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet resolve at 5 a.m. on a Tuesday night, returning the call from someone who's in crisis. And sometimes it's staying long after hours, simply because someone needed you. Then there's commitment. The kind of commitment that doesn't make headlines, but saves lives. Nonprofit work often doesn't offer glitz or glamour, but your commitment has led to the treatment access where there was once silence, to support neighborhoods that had none, and to offer safe spaces where stigma once lived. You have held fast through budget crises, burnout, and bureaucracy, because the mission matters more than any of that. And that leads us to community, the most powerful force that we have. Community is not just a buzzword. It's the antidote to shame. It's what happens when we say, you are not alone, and when you mean it. It's in the peer support groups, the mobile outreach vans, the family counseling sessions. It's in any of the partnerships that we build across various sectors: healthcare, housing, the law, education, because no one recovers in isolation. I want to share a story about my own life that I think speaks volumes about the work that you folks are doing. I'm going to apologize ahead because I'll probably get emotional when I do this. I can scarcely remember a time from my childhood when my life was not impacted by substance abuse. I lived in a home where my mother's addiction to heroin and my father's addiction to crack cocaine made them both unable to care for my siblings and me. Our family's world was consumed by chaos. The chaos of addiction brings with it an unpredictable mix of neglect, fear, and uncertainty, not to mention the countless raids from police and DCF. I realized that from a young age, I had to step up in a way that no child should ever have to. I found myself in charge of caring for my 3 younger siblings. I began cooking meals. I cleaned the house. I made sure that my sister and my brothers had what they needed for school, and I made damn sure that they got to school. I had to make everyone feel safe and secure in a home filled with uncertainty. I had to be courageous, not because I wanted to, but because it was necessary. I made a commitment at that all too young age to my siblings, but I also made a commitment to myself that I would break the cycle, that I'd get a good education, and that I would extricate myself from the lifestyle that my parents had become subject to. Eventually, after many years of rotating from life with my parents and living with other family members, I made the decision to emancipate myself from them. At 15 years old, I did just that. It wasn't courage or commitment alone that made a difference for me. No, it was community. The social networks, the social workers, the counselors, local programs, teachers, friends, all of this helped lift me up. Those folks offered me support and helped me find my own path in life. When we build systems of care, when we ensure that our communities are wrapped in arms that surround families. When we do this kind of work, we can really change lives. I'm proud today that I'm a first-generation bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree holder in my family. Thank you. Gives me a minute to catch my breath, too. I'm blessed with a beautiful family and a daughter who, God willing, will never know what the pain of seeing someone you love suffering from an addiction like this. And I have a community of support that goes far beyond the traditional family. This is why the work that you do matters. To kids like me, to folks who grew up in situations that they had to break out from, and to the families that surround them. Today is not just about looking back on what you've achieved, though you have much to be proud of. It's also about looking forward with hope. The fight against substance abuse and addiction is far from over, and it's far from over here in Plymouth. But you are proof that change is possible. You're building systems of care that are smarter, more compassionate, and more just. So today I celebrate you, not only for the work that you do, but for the spirit in which you do it. For the courage that you face when faced with pain, for your commitment when the path isn't easy or clear, and for creating community where healing is real, recovery is honored, and everyone has a place to be. Thank you for everything that you do. Congratulations to today's honorees, and keep going, because you're changing lives. And more than that, you're saving them. Thank you.
That concludes our, I'm kidding, because that was enough. I mean, Mr. David Golden, talk about keeping it real. Amazing. Thank you for having the courage. When I asked him to do this, I said, don't give me an answer yet. And he said, no, I like to answer things right away. I said, don't give me an answer yet. He goes, I'm going to think about that one. I said, you should. And it was amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so the next portion of our event, I'd love to share with you and introduce our Arise 2025 Leadership Awards. This is the first time we are offering leadership awards in the town of Plymouth, and they're presented to our first-year grantees for their exceptional programming created with Arise opioid funding. We want to give you a sense. Last year, we introduced you, for those who were here, as to what their programs were going to be. Now they've done them. We're going to tell you exactly what they've done for the community of Plymouth and for the people of Plymouth. So, first up, whoever's going to represent your agency, if you want to just come up, I'd like to share this with you. First up is Bay State Community Services. Their program is known as CRAFT, and they were awarded $49,267.50. So Bay State, come on down. Thank you. It says, Bay State Community Services, you make a difference. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. Gandhi. And this is a leadership award. Very quickly, just want to tell you a little bit about what their program was. The CRAFT program is a nationally recognized American Psychological Association endorsed family-based recovery model that was brought to the community for the first time ever through this funding. It teaches families impacted by a loved one's addiction how to learn and navigate effective strategies to support loved ones seeking treatment, but also strategies how to communicate, how to build those relationships around a very sensitive subject, how to problem solve, and safety skills. This program is offered in a group setting, which allows for natural built-in support systems, and funding provided the resources for the CRAFT curriculum training, group meals, hiring of facilitators, marketing, and critical on-site childcare, because that's what people need. Congratulations, Bay State.
Congratulations. Wonderful job. So happy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations on being a 2025 Plymouth Community Leader in the fight against opioids. Next up is Brockton Area Multi-Services Incorporated, commonly and lovingly known as BAMSI around here, for their PCOPE Overdose Prevention Project, or POP. And they were awarded $49,840. So whoever would like to come up for BAMSI to accept this award, you're going to get a little raindrops this way, but it's all right. Okay.
All right.
You guys
Nice.
go. Come on in.
Nice.
All right. So this project, this amazing project that this team did, provided multi-pronged, evidence-based harm reduction strategies for recovery and public health proven to reduce the risk of relapse. Monies provided scholarships for those involved in some level of recovery, which included scholarships for critical housing, transportation, and clothing needs. And you will hear the incredible impact of such scholarship from one recipient shortly. Incentive programs were created to engage those on some level of recovery in committing to a comprehensive full range of healthcare services, because we know recovery isn't just about beating a drug. You have to take care of yourself. These are really critical services. Also, this grant purchased Narcan to place in 12 businesses throughout the Plymouth community. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
And Mike spoke last year at our ceremony. He was amazing. Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Okay. Next up is High Point Treatment Center for their Wellness Recovery and Prevention Project, also known as WRAP. They received $49,832.50. So, High Point, come on up. Here you go. There it is. So this program, pretty amazing. This program provides trauma-informed, holistic approach therapeutic services to those in treatment and recovery, including yoga, sports such as volleyball. They were so excited to rebuild those volleyball nets. Music and drumming, right? They were really excited about the volleyball nets. This program targeted and served high-risk youth struggling with the intergenerational cycle of opioid addiction. They know where the sweet spots are. This program established comprehensive scholarships for individuals, students, and youth. Examples include providing transportation funding outside of the scope of financial aid for a local student to attend college, without this funding and this transportation would have been the difference between this individual attending college here in Plymouth and not. They've provided financial assistance to a Plymouth student to attend nursing school. Yeah, right? And financing a Plymouth vocational student's purchase of required tools to enter an electrician program. You will also hear directly from a scholarship recipient today and the critical support this funding provided for this person. Congratulations on being a Plymouth Community Leader. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I would hug you, but we're getting a little wet here. Okay. Mother Nature is now saying, ha-ha, sucker. Okay. Next up is Plymouth Public Schools for their Plymouth Youth Development Project, or PYDP. Come on up. Here's Kim. Congratulations. So this incredible project, absolutely incredible. This project established comprehensive professional development training for elementary and early childhood staff on opioid prevention and trauma impact. It identified gaps in prevention and education services for children ages 7 to 11 who were not previously served, and extended services to this population in the town of Plymouth. They worked in conjunction with fellow grantee To the Moon and Back to break service-driven stigmas. This program devised a simple question, added it to kindergarten forms, asking at-risk families if they would be interested in supportive services. Instead of mandating, they asked. You know what happened? This empowered Plymouth families to participate in playgroups designed to educate, support, and provide effective intervention strategies. A direct result in our town of this program through this grant has been a Plymouth Public School reduction in absenteeism from this age group. Getting it done. Yes, another component of this program, exactly, was the creation of an innovative doula home visiting program, which to date has made 68 home visits conducted to new parents in Plymouth. You will hear the impactful story of this program from one recipient in just a bit. Congratulations, Plymouth Public Schools, for your amazing work. Thank you. Oh, my goodness gracious. Everyone staying dry? Mostly, for the most part? Okay. Finally, to the moon and back for their prenatal opioid exposure, or PO project. Accepting, I believe, will be many people coming up. Woo, all of the people, all to the moon and back. You should also know, just sidebar, Teresa Harmon was also our Empowered Woman of the Year this year through the Chamber of Commerce. So we've got celebrity status in the house. Okay. So this groundbreaking project, and when I say groundbreaking, we mean it. This was a model created in Plymouth, Massachusetts by To the Moon and Back to serve local families experiencing neonatal abstinence syndrome. The first of its kind model in the country created a comprehensive intake, assessment, data collection, and case management evidence-based standard of care to support local children under 18 born with PO and their families at no cost. To the Moon and Back created a pilot initiative for integrated clinical support with Plymouth Public Schools so that children identified with PO could be served within the Plymouth School District. This local model is now recognized both state and nationwide through a request for sharing practices and invitations to prevent at national conferences. It has also been validated, this model validated by the well-reputed national child advocacy organization Child Trends. Also, just for fun, due to a RISE grant funding, To the Moon and Back hired their first paid employee with these funds. First paid employee was featured on Channel 5 News in an in-depth piece, appeared in People magazine, excuse us, and has received an additional $1 million state grant to continue expanding their work. Congratulations to the Moon and Back. Woo! Amazing, amazing. Whew. Pretty incredible work. This isn't national, this isn't even state, this is right here in your town. So next up, I would like to introduce Assistant Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Emily Wilson. Emily has played a critical role in formulating the ARISE mission and creating the mini grant program, and is an integral part of the HHS team. Emily will be introducing our special guest today. Assistant Commissioner Wilson, come on up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Brady. Can everybody hear me? Yes. All right. Hi, everyone. I can't tell you how amazing it is to see all of you together. This is like dream scenario. Just wonderful to have you all here. As you just heard from Commissioner Brady and Select Board Vice Chair Golden, we are here to celebrate stories of courage and commitment in our community. If you're like me and those we're going to hear from and honor today, you have a story as well. Helping our community heal is a personal issue and a generational public health challenge for me. I experienced my first loss due to overdose when I was 16 years old. I lost a dear friend. Last year, my family lost someone who I had grown up with and known for over 35 years, another loved one. Sadly, this story is not unique. In writing about her path to healing from trauma and addiction, author Cheryl Strayed said, I knew that if I allowed fear to overtake me, my journey was doomed. We will now hear from and honor individual honorees who have their own lived and living experience and who exhibit incredible bravery on their own journeys. We honor them today as courageous stewards of the Plymouth Arise resources. It is my great privilege to introduce these honorees who deeply embody the Plymouth Arise mission. First, I want to share a little bit about each honoree with you before they come up to speak. First, we will hear from Mr. Nick Blake, a mentor, diligent student, counselor at Anchor House, and active volunteer at Plymouth Recovery Center. Nick is the recipient of a BAMSI PCOPE Recovery Scholarship as part of the PCOPE Overdose Prevention Project, which, as you heard, aimed to eliminate financial obstacles to recovery. In nominating him to speak today, the BAMSI team remarked on Nick's, quote, remarkable resilience and dedication. Next, we will hear from Ms. Katie Lorge. Katie is a highly dedicated mom and aspiring advocate who plans to work to support others, especially those struggling who could benefit from her story. Katie was a participant in the Plymouth Public Schools doula effort to support the overall mental health of Plymouth moms during highly stressful times following childbirth. In nominating Katie to speak today, the PPS team discussed how proud they are of her. Katie is accompanied today by her husband Thomas, their daughter Maddie, and her mother Hilda. And last, but by no means least, we will hear from Mr. Michael Rebello. Mike R., as he is known to the High Point team, is a highly dedicated dad, sober house manager, active member of his AA group, and is building a foundation to be a leader and role model in this community. Michael was a participant of High Point's RAP program, and in nominating him to speak today, the High Point team described Mike as so sincere and as vital to, quote, helping others see that recovery is possible. We also wish to acknowledge here today with us Mr. Michael Tatro, who's in the audience. Mike T., as he is known at High Point, was also a RAP participant and now works at High Point. Mike T. is here to celebrate, to support his friends, and the High Point team describes him as such an asset to the agency. Please join me in welcoming our individual honorees. So first, Nick, if you would make your way up. We're so thrilled to hear from you. And then when Nick is finished, we'll hear from Katie and then Mike.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. My name is Nick Blake. I hail from Oklahoma, landed in Plymouth by accident. Thank you. It's been a journey. I found a community within Plymouth that I know going back home I wouldn't have, so I stayed. I come from a long line of addicts, alcoholics. Lost a brother to addiction. So in my journey, I knew I got help that I needed, and I brought my own brother, my kid brother up here. Throughout my journey, I started school. Because if I was going to help people, I need to have an education. So with the help of the BAMSI scholarships, that helped alleviate the burden of paying rent every once in a while. It's very helpful. I'm now a student at UMass of Boston. Thank you. I just finished my freshman year at Post University, putting it on hold so I can give all my time to this next year for the program they have at UMass. But thank you for everything. Thank you for Arise. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm glad it's here. So thank you, guys.
You got this.
Hello, everyone. As we talk of courage, this is not something that I would have found myself in the last 15 years to be doing or have any strength to come and be before all of you and discuss any achievements or anything of myself. I come from a family that is of many disabled people, that is of mental health, of physical disabilities, and I've lost many due to that. I have had a role model as a peer through my community of Harwich and my mom and my aunts and my uncles in my family that I believed were of a strong commitment to our community of Harwich, being a Cape Codder. Over the years, my roles have definitely changed from being a parent and being a high school graduate. Of course, life does throw you many curveballs, life gets messy, and being a parent is even messier to navigate. I had lost complete hope seeing my mom's tireless efforts and being with her on activities as Girl Scouts, youth group, in recreations, in peer leadership at school, in many different ways, and see that we weren't getting anywhere because we didn't have a community that was committed to making a village to be able to care for our families, to care for our people that are disabled by mental health or physical health that are not left behind. It was a broken community. I found myself becoming disabled with fibromyalgia and agoraphobia. Agoraphobia, most do not know what is, do not understand how someone that is agoraphobic, by definition, being the fear of people, to be able to stand here today. I have always wanted to take after my mom and work with social services, but to see so many people left behind, lost, and being elders, by being education, by being disabled, by being a religion, by being of addiction, and a mental health that were not going to be answered, needs that were a low income based, that were of that reason for many of them that were left behind, that did not get the services that needed to be there for them, to support them in any of their journeys. There was not one that committed their time as much as the town of Plymouth as a whole community does. And that is something that I treasure truly, and thank everyone here today, and thank Plymouth Family Network and Emily and Michelle and the Arise program and Andrea the doula that was at home and the Plymouth Public Schools. I wouldn't be here today as my current roles as a wife, as a mother to, as a disabled person, and as someone that is agoraphobic. I never thought that I would dream to be back in the community and have faith to want to raise a child in complete faith that my village was there. My village was my community. They were what was going to raise my family. They were going to aid with that growth. That was what our community was for. I always have lived by the saying that it takes the village to raise the family, and it takes the village to raise the community. There is something that Plymouth is the beacon of light in my life, and to very many others, of moms and of other parents, whether they are parents by grandparents, by single parents, of mother or fathers, of parents that are aunts and uncles that have lost help or services or needs to be able to be in their community and not have the fear to be defined by their stigmas or the situation that brought them into their life that day. Plymouth Public Schools and Plymouth Family Network in their Rise community has assisted me to be here and for me to be able to be a parent that is rewarding every day, to push myself to want to be a pillar of one of these communities that we see before us today that have helped countless families. Kim has been a golden light. When I moved to Plymouth, me and Abel became my first child by ourselves. It was a leap of faith. My husband was one that I seen left behind, but a soul that I was so in love with that I couldn't let someone's life not be created because of being left behind, of a stigma, and because of I not wanting to deal with this situation or seek out avenues of recovery, of recreating your life in many ways, to never stop evolving. Plymouth lets you be able to evolve throughout all your aspects of life, whether it's being an addiction, whether it's being a single person, being an elder, being a disabled person, or more importantly, a family or a parent. My son is now a second grader in the Plymouth Public Schools. I have carried on with the adventure with him of going into our community and reigniting that there is faith, that there is people that make it worth it to be a part of a community and part of a movement that connects and supports each other, that it is not anybody that's going to be left behind. This is a community that works together, bonds together, means something to be sure that no one is ever having to be in a stigma or a stupid question or lost without an answer alone. Kim has shown me in various ways through all of Suez's parent support groups and breastfeeding groups and our Parent Plus Child programs and our baby play groups. Our parent advisory board, I think, is one of the most important things to be able to bring a service like Arise in the doula services. With my first child, that service was not created. Because of Arise today, I have reached a second level in my recovery of agoraphobia and exposure therapy by not only doing field day with my son or PTA, or to be able to stand for him as an advocate in the change of an IEP or a 504, but by being socially emotional. But it's also by the Rise program that has a doula home service program that was new, that most weren't aware of, that in my situation was a lifeline. With having this disability and being a parent and needing often reassurance and consistent help in emotional and physical support and mental health supports and family connections. With Madison, she was born 2 weeks after my house had burned down. We had lost everything. I didn't know how to deal with this. There is a different type of left behind. It was a closed eye. We had no clue what was ahead of us. I was at my all-time fear of my agoraphobia. My walls were gone. But PFN, it was there. The Plymouth was there. Arise was there. They were able to help me with sending Andrea to my home and being able to help me through a trauma of a house fire and history of traumas, be able to know how to nest again, to be able to recover from a fire, and be able to know that in a new parenting situation or breastfeeding that has a lot of stigmas to it, a lot of things that are behind that are things that I didn't think you could see me do in public, let alone stand here today, be breastfeeding in public. And she gave the consistent courage for me to be able to make that commitment to my daughter of breastfeeding. Arise was so lucky for my family to be able to be given extra services when Madison was faced with a breastfeeding and a newborn feeding health risk and was diagnosed with failure to thrive. She was at 0.01 percentile and was very life-threatening. Andrea stayed with me, not by just nesting in my home and reconnecting me in supports back to remembering it's the Plymouth that has my back. It's Plymouth that I can ask questions. It's Plymouth that's my girlfriend that I can call and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to know if this is right or if this is wrong, but not have a stigma of what is opinionated of what should be by your life situations or what you have had in your past, but what you're currently going through right then, and to lift you up and keep fighting your fight that you are already facing, and know that a house fire and mental health, addiction, and health conditions of an infant is not stopping you. You can keep going forward. And if you have that village, you have that community that is there with you. They're constantly always saying, you got this.
Katie, can I hug you? That is amazing. Amazing. Thank you so so much. That is a brave story and a brave woman. Thank you so much, Katie. All right, we've got, not, as Emily said, not last but not least. Come on up, Nick.
Hello. I'm a little nervous. This is my first time doing anything like this, so.
All right, you got you a little closer. There you go, right.
My name is Michael Rebello, and I've been invited here to talk about the critical role that grants and scholarships played in my own recovery journey. Recovery, no matter what form it takes, it's never an easy or straightforward road. Almost always, it involves rebuilding every aspect of your life, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially. My own story involved needing to focus on all these areas at what felt like all at once. During my recovery, I was faced with overwhelming stress of financial devastation that my addiction and choices created. I was completely lost on where to even begin. That's where the grants and scholarships came in. The grants I received gave me so much more than just financial relief. They gave me literal hope. Grants are more than just financial aid. To me, they were an absolute lifeline. For the outside observer, they initially allowed me to secure safe and sober housing. But what they really did was remind me that someone somewhere believed I was worth investing in. That belief mattered. It showed me that someone believed in my potential and allowed me to start to believe it about myself. Today I stand here not just as someone in recovery, but someone who is rebuilding a life with purpose and pride. Today I'm an active member of AA. I am grateful for my full-time job. I'm able to chip away at cleaning up the wreckage of my past. Sorry. I am dependable, trustworthy, and I'm able to help others. All gifts that I never imagined possible. The gifts I have today are in large part to the financial support that I have received during my earliest and hardest days of my recovery. To those who fund and support and advocate to these programs, thank you. You're changing lives in ways that words could never fully express. I would like to extend my biggest thank you to the High Point staff in the Section 35 unit. They helped save my life, and nothing that I have today would have been possible without them. I am forever grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
Those stories, absolutely incredible. You're incredible. And you're the reason we do this, right? You matter. We could speak pretty words all day long, but without your stories and the impact and knowing what's needed in this community, it's all for nothing. So thank you so much for your incredible courage and your stories, and for the incredible communities that support you. All right, next up, if you can hear me through Mother Nature, I'm just saying, no, you can't hear me. Matt Moratori's like, nope, you could tell a joke right now about me, I wouldn't know. All good. Okay, last portion of our program, all right, before we go inside, and we have umbrellas to help you. I'd like to call to the stage, I would like to introduce Mr. Jay Gardner, Plymouth HHS consultant. Jay is the third member of the Arise team, and his expertise and knowledge in public health has been instrumental in shaping this program, and his glass half full optimism always makes for good productivity. Jay, come on up.
Cool, appreciate it. I know, I hear you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We had envisioned better weather. Trust me. You have to see this facility both inside and out when the weather is gorgeous. You can imagine. So, thank you, Michelle.
Of course.
Most importantly, thank you to our honored guests. Thank you for having the courage to step forward and share your story. The courage that you have is both educational and inspirational to us. Our progress is not measured in pie charts or graphs. It's measured by individual success, each individual family, each individual that makes progress, and no two journeys are alike. So thank you so very much for coming forward. During our inaugural year, in addition to monitoring the 5 grantees that you saw, we continually held discussions to help us identify potential service gaps, unmet needs in the Plymouth community. We're constantly striving to expand our portfolio of programming to meet the community's needs. Out of those ongoing conversations, 2 additional programs were identified during this fiscal year, and we encourage them to submit a proposal and a funding request for review. Before I announce those 2 new programs, I would like to introduce our review committee. Most of them are standing in the back, and I hope you can hear me. So when I call your name, I'd like you to stand, and please stay standing. These are volunteers in our community, each with a diverse skill set, but they have a passion for Plymouth, and that's what counts, and we thank you so very much. Amy Naples, please stand, Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. Amy, thank you. Dr. Angela Landerholm, Chief Department of Psychiatry, BID, Plymouth. Thank you, Doctor. Brendan Elliott, we shared an umbrella. Brendan, thank you so very much. Founder of Cornerstone Financial. 2 individuals on the committee we are not able to be here today, but no less important. Grant writer Tiffany Park she's for the town of Plymouth. She's the grant writer, and also Dave Holland, funeral director with Cartmel Davis Funeral Home. So a round of applause for our review committee. It couldn't happen without them. Okay, to the money.
To the money, honey.
Yep. Our first grantee program is entitled Supporting Plymouth Access to Recovery and Support. The program is delivered by High Point Treatment Center. This program provides supportive services to individuals within Plymouth Recovery Court, and that's administered by the Honorable Judge Julian at Plymouth District Court. Plymouth Recovery Court provides judicial intervention, treatment, and intensive supportive services to individuals who are in the judicial system because of direct or indirect involvement with substance abuse. Each Wednesday morning, the Recovery Court team comes together. That is Judge Julian, the DA's office, medical professionals, probation officers, social workers. A pharmacist is involved. I've been able to sit and watch this, and they collectively manage and craft and design and meet individuals' unique needs to help them regain their physical and emotional health. The ARISE program is pleased to award High Point $56,400 to expand the services presently being offered. Representing High Point, Tara Ryan, Jerry Randall. Thank you so much. I get to meet you. I get to meet you.
Lots of phone calls.
We had a lot of phone calls back and forth. Sorry, thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
Can you just let's see. Michelle, do you want to? Okay. It's a pleasure to meet you. We had a lot of conversations back and forth. Thank you so very much. All right. That doesn't work at the drive-thru. You're going to have to go in the bank. I'm telling you very much. That doesn't work. I'm telling you. All right. The second program funded is the Plymouth County Sheriff's Office. It's entitled Pathways to Recovery Program. Plymouth County Sheriff Joseph McDonald Jr. is innovative, creative, and compassionate. He's a leader in the correctional system. The proposal that they presented cited an alarming statistic. Individuals who have recently been released from Massachusetts prisons have a short-term risk of death from opioid overdoses that is 50 times higher than the general public. Opioid treatment and use disorders within correctional facilities has the potential to dramatically reduce overdose deaths and criminal recidivism if the right strategies are implemented and essential services are made available. Plymouth County Sheriff's Department Pathways to Recovery will support transition of individuals who are considered at high risk for overdose upon release from jail. Congratulations. The ARISE program is pleased to award Plymouth County Sheriff's Office $27,411 to support this life-saving work. Representing the Sheriff's Department is Sheriff Joe McDonald and Lauren McLean. Could you come on up? Pleasure. Pleasure. Sheriff, great job. Great job. Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Photo op. Come on in. Yeah.
I was remiss. Carolyn Riley has been meeting with us for months now. So Carol, I'm so glad you jumped up and joined us. Thank you so much. Thank you to your team. We so appreciate it. It's well deserved. Michelle.
Thank you. Now you see why Jay is our pom-poms. He is our half glass full, and he's amazing. Thank you to both Emily, Assistant Commissioner, and Jay Gardner for, again, this is a team effort. Nothing happens in this community single-handedly and alone, so we are all in this together. Well, I would like to thank all of our incredible guests for sharing this historic morning with us. I would like to ask one favor of you. I would like you to stand if you are a grantee or a special guest today. Just please stand. Little technical difficulties, we're fine. It's all good. We could make you sit back down and do this again, but I'm just going to keep you standing. How are we doing? Okay, there we go. Please stand if you are a dignitary or official who cares about this community. Please stand if you or someone you love has been impacted by addiction. Every person in this audience should be standing. Please give yourself a round of applause for being part of the solution. Woo! All of you. An incredible community. We now kindly ask that you join us in the press room next door for the next portion and final portion of our program, the delegation citations. Thank you. Thank you again to everyone for weathering the storm, if you will, and listening and honoring. It's not a rise that's being honored, okay? We got money, we wrote checks. That's what is the people that are doing the work and the recipients of that work that have the courage, as we heard, to actually make a change in their lives. From Mr. David Golden, who shared his story, such an incredible, impactful story, to Nick, to Katie, to I've got them all here. I've got you all here. Mike, everyone is just so incredible. So it's far beyond me. We now have this portion. Your delegation wanted to honor you, and I think that doesn't happen every day. You know, I don't have a Senate citation. I don't have a state rep citation, but I think that the people here who wanted to be here to say, you matter, we see you, took the time to do that. So without further ado, in no particular order, but I am just going to start what's on the sheet that Emily so graciously created. We want to welcome Mr. Mike Jackman up, presenting citations from U.S. Senator Ed Markey's office.
You cannot make that up. And U.S. Congressman Keating's office. Mr. Jackman is going to present both of those. Senator, United States Congressman, here in Plymouth in our room. Take it away.
Thank you, Michelle. So Senator Markey's citations are taped, so it's like the envelope at the Oscars. So that's going to be very exciting. I have to tell Mother Nature today was not a Saturday. But before I'm so proud to be here. In addition to being Congressman Keating's district director, I also serve as the chair of the Greater Plymouth Community Health Network Alliance. And some of the honorees and the grantees are on our board. Where's Emily? Oh, there she is. Emily's in the back. Emily's on our board. We're doing great work. Tomorrow is our annual meeting. We'll be honoring Jerry Randall as one of our Health Literacy Award recipients. So congratulations to you. You're all invited, 9 o'clock at the Cal tomorrow morning. One thing, I was sitting, listening to the raindrops and the speeches, in equal audibility. I play the spelling bee every morning on my phone. And I think about anagrams now. My brain, I'm sitting, I'm like, oh, that's an anagram for that word. And looking at the sign, that's an anagram for greatness. Uses the same word. So I think we're recognizing in our community some of the greatness of the work that's being done and the courage and commitment and community that these wonderful folks are bringing to this very important effort. It was mentioned before, but and I know I'm going on long, but the overdose death numbers are down because of a lot of the work that you people are doing, that work that the state legislature, that Congress is doing, when it does work. But it's all work together, and we're recognizing that importantly today. So, how am I going to do this, Michelle?
You want us, Michelle, to do them all together? Sure.
Yeah, we can do the conga line.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Thank you. That would be fabulous.
All right, so I'm going to call you up, and you're going to go right through the conga line, and you're going to get all your citations. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes. Very
Katie
organized.
Lorge. Katie.
Katie.
Congressman Keating. Right down the line.
You say who our delegation is?
Oh, yeah, so we have State Rep Kathy Lenatra, we have State Rep Michelle Badger, and Jack Richardson from Senator Fernandez's office.
Woo! Hey.
Congratulations. Down to Jack as well.
Michael Ribello. Michael, is it Tatro? Tatro? And Nick Blake. So one's from Senator Markey, one's from... The nice one...
Really impressive one is from Rep Badger and myself.
Not that it's a competition.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Never.
Okay, so now for our grantees, again, exhibiting greatness in the community. State Community Services. Brockton Area Multi-Services, Inc., aka Bands.
See you again. Michelle has a citation for you.
you so much. Real quickly, today is the 90-year anniversary of AA, Founders Day.
I knew that. I mean, I knew that.
She has a room full of these.
She has a room.
No, we need to get our whole wall.
No, we're not there.
High Point Treatment Center.
High Point.
I'll trade you the check for the citation.
Same time.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, we're there.
Plymouth Public Schools. Yeah, so it's on behalf of the delegation, it's an honor to be invited here today to celebrate these wonderful honorees and grantees. And it's really an honor to be able to work that HHS and the Arise Project has done, is doing. We're very excited to hear about the new grantees as well. And we look forward to being back on a beautiful sunny day next June, Michelle, to honor them. So thank you very much.
Thank you again, everyone, for coming, and we're always supported by this delegation. I think people talk about the Plymouth community and why it's so amazing. You know, we look at our town leadership. I always speak to, I don't even know if he's here, so there's no, being kind on. You know, I look at Derek Brindisi, our town manager, who started HHS and said, people have to matter. That is your town manager. I'm honored to work for someone with that work ethic and that heart. I look at our select board, past and present. It doesn't matter if you serve on the select board or previously served on the select board. Everyone in this room has worked hard and put boots on the ground to put their money where their mouth is to make this happen for this town. And your delegation, they show up at every turn. There isn't I don't care what anyone says, that these ladies and gentlemen show up. They don't just wave from afar and say thank you and I'm on a campaign trail. They say, I see you, thank you, you matter, I'm coming to your event, big or small, every single time. Thank you, truly. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Till next year. Thank you so much.